Welcome, Illuminators, where we will uncover the shadows of history. Today we will expose the Crusaders, a force that swept through the Holy Land, leaving rivers of blood in their wake. The Crusades are often seen as holy wars, but as we peel back the layers, we will reveal a different story, one of tyranny and forced conversions. The Crusaders weren't a single-minded army. They were a deadly mix of knights, noblemen, and peasants, driven by strange beliefs of faith, greed, and revenge. While some claimed religious favor, many simply saw the Crusades as a ticket to riches and power. Pope Urban II's promise was clear. Victory would bring not only glory, but also forgiveness for any sin. The Crusaders set out with righteous rage and bloodlust, convinced they could wipe their slates clean with every sword strike. When Emperor Alexius asked Pope Urban for help defending his empire, Pope Urban called upon the Christians. Thousands of Crusaders, armed and restless, rallied around him. As they marched east, their first true massacre awaited. The People's Crusade, they called it, but for the Jews and Muslims in their path, it was sheer horror. Forced into a gruesome choice, convert or die. Entire communities faced a terrifying end. By the time they reached Jerusalem, the city's walls were stained with death. A wonderful sight to behold, a leader would recall, as thousands were slaughtered without hesitation. The Crusaders' bloodlust knew no limits, but their unity did. The Second Crusade's ambitions soon twisted into chaos. Internal problems, poor planning, and a devastating lack of resources saw them tearing each other apart. By now, even the farmers and merchants who had once aided them turned away, disgusted by their demands. Their greed had poisoned them from within, and failure was swift and brutal. After the Muslims' general Saladin retook Jerusalem, the Crusaders were furious. Richard the Lionheart, Philip of France, and Frederick of Germany launched a campaign marked by desperate violence. Driven to reclaim Jerusalem, they ravaged entire towns, but the Crusaders soon tasted their limits as they failed to break through Saladin's defenses. Instead of reclaiming Jerusalem, they left with only a hollow treaty, a pale shadow of their former blood-soaked victories. While the First Crusades had turned the Holy Land into a battlefield, the Fourth Crusade struck even closer to home. Pope Innocent III's plan to reclaim Jerusalem took a twisted path. Instead of Egypt, the Crusaders turned their wrath on a neighboring Christian city. Driven by greed, they slaughtered and took what they could, even destroying holy sites and relics. Their so-called holy mission had disintegrated into a black hole of ambition, tearing down cities, faiths, and lives alike. At their core, the Crusades were a clash of tyranny, ambition, and unspeakable violence. They sought to reclaim the Holy Land, but in the process, they twisted faith into a weapon and spread terror across nations. The Crusades cast a long, dark shadow on history, a reminder of how easily faith and power can turn into tyranny. Thank you guys so much for watching, and if you enjoyed today's journey into the shadows, stay tuned for more stories that history would rather forget. Until next time, keep searching for the truth, even in the darkest places.